I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Wednesday, May the 28th, 2014. The Jerusalem Post reports that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has put his support behind Rivlin in his bid to become the next president of Israel. Netanyahu announced today that he would be endorsing the veteran Likud member in the upcoming elections next month. The Prime Minister's office said that Netanyahu had called Rivlin, telling him, "We have been through a lot together in our lifetime. Some days were good and some not so good, but I hope we will know better days." Rivlin previously served as chairman of the Knesset. He has also served as Minister of Communications in Israel and served twice as Speaker of the Knesset. Netanyahu's endorsement and the likely endorsement to come from the Israel Beitenu party makes Rivlin the front-runner in the elections, which will take place in Israel on June the 10th. And Prime Minister Netanyahu addressed the Knesset today in a special session to mark Jerusalem Day in Israel, commemorating the reunification of the city in 1967. Netanyahu said in his remarks that the city would never be divided again. There were several reports of violence in Jerusalem today. The Temple Mount was closed temporarily following rioting that broke out there. During the riots, one Israeli police officer was lightly injured by stones thrown by masked Palestinian youth. Two young Jewish men were also reportedly attacked in Jerusalem's Old City, sustaining light injuries. Police later arrested two Arab youths suspected of being involved. And a young Arab man was reportedly attacked by a group of Jewish youth in the city, sustaining light injuries. Police were investigating the incidents. And clashes broke out overnight in the Palestinian city of Jenin. IDF forces had gone into Jenin to arrest several terror suspects when the soldiers came under attack by Palestinian gunmen who also threw explosives at them. No IDF soldiers were injured, and the IDF was looking into whether one of the Palestinian gunmen was hit by IDF fire. The terror suspects were ultimately arrested. The Times of Israel reports that Poland is making it easier for Holocaust survivors to apply for and receive monthly pensions from the country. The current law in Poland is that people of Polish descent recognized as war veterans or victims of oppression could receive the benefits only if they had a bank account in Poland or knew a resident there who could transfer the money to them. However, Polish Foreign Minister's Special Envoy for Relations with the Jewish Diaspora, Sebastian Rajek, told the Times of Israel yesterday that the Polish government recently changed those laws, allowing now for the transfer of the pension payments to those without a bank account in the country, which opens the door to potentially thousands of Israelis with Polish roots and an unknown number of survivors of Polish descent across the world. The new rules will go into effect in October for residents of the European Union and outside of the EU next spring. Outgoing director of Project Heart, Bobby Brown, said the importance of this is that for the first time, the government of Poland is reaching out to this particular group of people. Project Heart is the Holocaust-era Restitution Task Force, a joint initiative of the Israeli government and the Jewish Agency. Brown worked with the Israeli and Polish governments on this issue. Every Polish citizen who suffered during the Nazi occupation by either being in a death camp, concentration camp, labor or transit camp, or was in hiding, or in the subsequent Soviet occupation until 1956 is potentially eligible to receive the monthly pensions as well as their spouses. The Daily Beast reports that one of Syria's oldest synagogues was destroyed this past weekend by the Syrian army. The over 400-year-old Eliyahu Hanavi synagogue in Jobar, outside of Damascus, was a pilgrimage site for Jews for centuries. It does not appear that the synagogue was specifically targeted, but rather a result of the ongoing conflict. And turning now to some entertainment news, pop star Justin Timberlake arrived in Israel today and took the stage in Tel Aviv's Hayarkon Park tonight. But before doing so, he made a quick stop at the Western Wall and posted a picture of himself at the holy site on his Instagram account and tweeted, "The Holy Land, what an experience. I will never forget this day." And now taking a look at our Shalom TV programming for tonight, Wednesday, May the 28th. At 7 o'clock, American Jewish Committee's Director of National Interreligious Affairs, Rabbi David Rosen, discusses Jewish-Catholic relations and his hope for improved relations with the Muslim world. Then at 8 o'clock, coverage and interviews from the AJC's recent Interfaith Leadership Awards held in New York City, honoring Chelsea Clinton. And then at 9 o'clock, co-author of Spies Against Armageddon, Israeli journalist Yossi Melman joins Mark Golub on L'chaim. That's tonight here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Wednesday, May the 28th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.